Hey there, deep divers. Ever feel like you're rebuilding the same code fences over and over again? Well, this deep dive is going to hand you the PowerBASIC Library Toolkit to blast through that. We're breaking down the 3 essential tools in your kit include files, DLLs, and static link libraries, so you can pick the perfect one for every single coding project.
It's like you wouldn't build an entire house using only a hammer. Right.
Exactly.
Each of these library types is like a different tool, each with its own strengths for specific tasks.
I like that. Our source uses this great analogy talking about building a fence. Imagine struggling to hammer in each individual nail.
Yeah.
What if you had a nail gun instead? Libraries are kind of like that. They give you these powerful pre-built functions so you can work faster and smarter.
Totally. Imagine like needing to sort a massive list of high scores for your game. Writing that sorting code yourself.
Oh, man.
That could take weeks, and even then, there might be bugs. But with a library, you just grab a pre-built, super efficient sorting function, plug it in, boom.
Boom.
Instant, reliable result.
That's what I'm talking about. Weeks of work condensed into a few lines of code. Our source also mentions how this helps with consistency, especially when you're collaborating on projects.
Absolutely. If your whole team is using the same reliable libraries, it's like everyone's working from the same set of tools.
Yeah.
You know what to expect, how things work, and there's way less chance of compatibility issues popping up later on.
Makes sense. All right, ready to grab the first tool out of our PowerBASIC library kit?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about include files and that slightly intimidating phrase, dead code removal.
Okay, don't worry. It's not as spooky as it sounds. Dead code is essentially just any code in your project that's not actually being used.
Okay.
PowerBASIC is smart enough to recognize this when you use include files, and it removes that unnecessary code to keep your final program nice and streamlined.
So it's like tidying up your workbench.
Exactly.
You've got your include files, which are like those little organizers for screws and nails.
Yeah.
Each one holding a specific set of code functions that you might need.
And just like you wouldn't want your entire toolbox cluttering up your workbench, dead code removal ensures that only the essential tools from your include files make it into your final program.
I love that.
This means smaller file sizes, faster load times, all good things, right?
Music to my ears. But our source had mentioned something about being careful when you're changing include files that are used in multiple projects. What's the deal there?
Oh, yeah. Good catch. It's like, imagine you've got a blueprint that's your include file that you've used to build several different birdhouses. If you decide to change the size of the entrance hole on that blueprint, you'll need to double check if it still works for all the birdhouses you've already made.
So it's all about potential compatibility issues down the line.
Exactly.
Tweak with caution.
Exactly. Now, if you want to take this whole sharing and reusing code thing to the next level, we need to talk about the heavy hitters, DLLs, dynamic link libraries.
Ooh, yeah. These sound powerful, like industrial grade tools.
They are.
Give me the lowdown.
Think of DLLs like those specialized power tools you might rent for a big project.
Sure.
Instead of each of us going out and buying our own expensive table saw, we can all just share access to the same one.
Okay, I'm liking this analogy.
Right.
So DLLs are like these separate units of code that multiple programs can borrow and use whenever they need to.
Precisely. And this borrowing happens dynamically. That's where that dynamic link in DLL comes in.
Right.
Let's say you're building a music player application.
Yeah.
Instead of coding all that complex audio processing stuff from scratch, you just grab a pre-built DLL that's specifically designed for handling audio.
And then the best part is if there's ever an update to that audio processing DLL,
Right.
maybe they improved the sound quality or fixed a bug,
Exactly.
you just update the DLL once and all the programs using it benefit automatically.
There you go. It's like having the rental company magically upgrade that table saw overnight while you sleep. But there's another cool thing about DLLs. Remember that whole choice between early and late binding our source mentioned?
Yeah, that sounded intriguing,
Yeah.
but a bit technical for me.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down for me like I'm coding challenged.
Okay. Think of it like deciding when to pick up that rented power tool.
Okay.
Early binding is like reserving the tool in advance. You know you're going to need it, so you book it ahead of time.
Gotcha.
With your code, this means the connection to the DLL happens right when the program starts.
So it's faster.
Yeah.
But if for some reason that DLL isn't there, like the rental place messed up,
Exactly.
your program might crash, right?
That's right. Now, late binding is more like deciding to rent the tool only when you actually need to use it.
Yeah.
It's more flexible.
Yeah.
But it might take a little longer. because you're essentially going through that rental process right then and there.
Okay, I see the difference. So with early binding, you're prioritizing speed and efficiency.
Yeah,
But with late binding, you're gaining flexibility, even if it means a slight speed bump.
you got it.
It all depends on your project's needs.
Exactly. You're getting the hang of this. Now, let's move on to the final tool in our PowerBASIC library arsenal, static link libraries.
Okay.
These are like the all-in-one workshop tools. Think of it like a sturdy workbench with like built-in clamps, saws, everything you need, kind of, right there.
Okay, I'm intrigued by this. So with a static link library, with an SLL, instead of like borrowing code like with a DLL, you're basically incorporating those tools directly into my workbench.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, with SLLs, the code from the library actually gets embedded directly into your program's executable file when you compile it.
Okay.
So it's really like having that custom-built workbench,
Yeah.
with all the tools permanently attached.
Got it. So super convenient.
Super convenient.
But wouldn't that make the final product, so my program, much larger
Yeah.
because it's carrying all that extra code?
That's the trade-off. SLLs do generally result in bigger file sizes, yeah, compared to using DLLs. But here's the upside. You don't have to worry about those external DLL files anymore.
Okay.
They're right there with your program.
So it's kind of like the difference between me carrying around a bulky toolbox versus having everything I need built right in.
Yeah.
There's a certain elegance to that. I like it. Our source also mentioned something about SLLs being great for sharing code without giving away all your secrets. How does that work?
Ah, that's a great point. So when you use an SLL, you're essentially sharing the compiled code. You're not sharing your original source code. So it's kind of like giving someone a blueprint of your finished workbench,
Okay.
but not the detailed instructions on how you built each individual component.
That's really clever. Perfect for collaborating on projects where maybe you want to keep some parts of the code, a little bit under wraps.
Exactly.
So we've covered these 3 awesome tools we talked about, include files, DLLs, and static link libraries.
Yep.
And I'm already feeling like a coding carpenter over here.
That's great.
But how do I actually know which one to use? Which one's right for my next PowerBASIC project?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
It all just comes down to what you need for that specific project. So let's break it down, make it super simple,
Okay, please.
include files, perfect for those smaller self-contained projects where you just want to organize your own code snippets and keep things nice and tidy. Think of it like your trusty toolbox organizers.
Got it. Small scale organization. What about when I need to level up?
That's when we bring in the DLLs. These are the go-to when you need to share code between multiple projects, or maybe you want to take advantage of some really specialized functionality that some other brilliant developers have already built. Think big, powerful, shareable, like that industrial-grade table saw we were talking about.
Okay, I like it. And if I'm going for the sleek, all-in-one approach?
Static link libraries are your friend. They're ideal for situations where you really just want a self-contained application. You don't want to deal with any of those external dependencies. Or let's say you need to share your code, but you also want to protect your intellectual property.
Right.
Think of that custom-built workbench, with everything you need right there at your fingertips.
This deep dive has been awesome. I'm feeling very empowered to choose the right PowerBASIC library for any coding project now. Thanks for breaking it all down so clearly.
Of course. Happy to help. And remember, the real magic is going to happen when you take all these tools and you unleash your own creativity. What amazing programs are you going to build?
Now that's a question. To all our deep divers out there, don't forget to check out the show notes for links to even more resources on PowerBASIC libraries. Keep experimenting, keep coding, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive where we'll uncover even more fascinating insights.